Hello, my name is Jim O'Neill, and I am the founding principal of OnWorks. As we said, we are a 4-year-old company that is actually 43 years in the making. I've been doing this for 43 years, mostly with large architectural firms. And 29 years ago, I started a firm, grew it to 50 some odd people, and then sold it to the employees. This was down in Houston, and moved back to Dallas. So I'm also a graduate of Richardson High School. 1976, the bicentennial class of Richardson High School. But what I'm going to talk about today is a little bit about how our company works, what we use as tools and process, and why it's important to all the real estate folks that we work with. And as Steve's already mentioned, this is a slideshow because that's how things work. It's a slideshow, but really it is meant to be interactive. If you've got questions, ask questions. And so with that,
hey Jim, let me just interject one more time.
Yeah.
The key element that you need to walk away from, having seen the demonstrations and the capabilities of 3D, is with OnWorks, there's no additional charge for 3D. Most of the time you have to go out and you have to hire a different firm or whatever. We do all of our drawings in 3D totally. And so because that's part of our process, we don't have any additional cost associated with all the 3D stuff you're going to see today.
Okay. So, like I said, OnWorks is a 4-year-old company. We do architecture and interior design, specializing in commercial, retail, industrial, and we do a bunch of healthcare. And then we've done a church lately, we've done a school, and it's kind of one of those things that we can do whatever needs to be, whatever needs to happen. So as I said, ran a company down in Houston for 25 years, and then sold it, retired, except I'm not really good at retiring. So that lasted about 2 months. And so OnWorks was created. And
Did you catch any fish?
I didn't catch any fish. I didn't do a lot, and then people started calling and saying, hey, can you help me? And so here's OnWorks. But part of the thing that's really important, and this is what we're going to talk about today, is we have created a process that includes helping clients make better decisions faster. Better decisions faster. That's the thing you need to walk away today. We were talking earlier, James and I were talking earlier, our clients are having trouble making decisions. Our clients are looking for excuses not to make decisions. Our clients are, everybody's concerned about where their money's going, what have you. So what we've done, and this has been something that we've been doing for the past almost 20 years. So this is not something brand new. This is something that's been tried and true, and it's been developed, is helping people make decisions faster. So this is me. This is all of that. If you're interested. One of the things that I learned. One of the things that I learned years ago is that although I'm used to looking at drawings, and contractors used to looking at drawings, our clients are not. Our clients cannot see drawings. And most of the drawings to them look like this. It used to frustrate me because for the longest time, I really didn't understand that they were looking at our drawings and actually seeing this. And so we started doing drawings that were at least color coded because we figured most people could read a map. And so if it's kind of color coded like a map, people can read it. And so in this case, every time we see orange, that's a conference room or a team space or some kind of collaboration area. It becomes easier to talk to people about it when you add a little color. But the thing that came out, and the reason that we spent all the time developing this process that we're going to show you today is I did a project for a large oil and gas company down in Houston, and we did a meeting with the whole executive staff. And we went through all of the executive areas. And the president stood up at the end of the meeting basically and said, I like everything that you showed me, but what I'd like to do is I'd like to get rid of all these quarter circle things that you've got in the design. I'd like to just get rid of all of those. And the executive vice president for drilling stood up and said, yeah, I'm glad you said that. I hated all of those things. Now, of course, for anybody who reads floor plan, that's a door swing, and we put it on there to show people you can't use this area right here because there's a door swinging across there. And that's when it really drove home. So what we end up doing is this is what we do instead. Okay, because you can look at this and you can tell where the door is, and you can tell there's a piece of glass next to it, and you can tell where the furniture is sitting, and you can tell where the outside glass is. And so again, it becomes really, really important in terms of communication. So first thing we do, as all of you guys know, is we do a test fit. And so for years, this is what our test fits used to look like. So, and by the way, I still love doing these test fits. I love drawing, but so here's a test fit that we just did recently. 2 options for somebody to look at, trying to describe how the space works.
Is it on the paper as well?
It is paper. It is. It's pen
paper.
It's pen and paper, and yes. So and yes, because I've been doing it for so long, I literally can do this in my sleep without a scale, which always freaks people out. And so, we went from hand drawing to CAD drawing, and again, to me, this reads really, really well, but for most of our clients, they were not able to understand. And even the color coding, where we tried to color glass blue so you could understand that, didn't really always help. So like I said, we eventually went to color coding things to help people read drawings. And then this is where we are today. So the drawing on the top is that color-coded kind of map-ish drawing. All the orange you can see are conference rooms, blue are offices, it's all color-coded. But the entire time I'm drawing that up there, I'm actually drawing what's down on the bottom. And the important part of that is that, again, for people who cannot read all of this, looking at this actually, makes a huge difference. So, and the other part of this that's so great about this, because it's already in 3D, this is a test fit. In fact, this drawing is for a project up in Calgary, Canada, and this was we actually did this drawing for the proposal, which unfortunately we didn't get the project because they hired a local architect. But this was actually done just for the proposal. It didn't even prior to test fit, basically. And then what I wanted to show you is from this, the great thing is, one side, is I've already got this in the test fit. So where we were trying to do something interesting with the core and the elevators when you stepped off of them, here we were able to show them what we were thinking about and how that actually worked. And this is, like I said, even before we got hired. So here's a typical set of test fits for the same client in two different buildings. So the great thing again about the color coding is that you can kind of compare a little between the two buildings to see which one works better. But the reality is this actually does a much better job of explaining to people what we're trying to do. Again, this is a company that wanted a big communal space in the middle. And again, like I was saying, I can already get down at that point in the test fit, and I can already get down to eye level and start showing people what this is going to look like. Again, the important part of that is helping clients make better decisions faster. So, and then I just wanted to show you those drawings that you saw were then converted to this level of drawing. These are two renderings. So from the test fit, the client actually paid us. So this is a paid, this part of this is paid, actually paid us to do some higher quality renderings so that they could actually send them off to the folks in New York to see what this all looks like. So that's our part of our process in test fits. Well, the next part is in schematic design, and in schematic design we start doing a lot of planning. This is where 3D also pays off. So this is the same project up in Calgary. It was going to be 3 floors, and so all of this color coding is all related to departments, and the red arrows are adjacencies that are extremely important, okay? Somebody that absolutely says they need to be on the same floor, and then the blue arrows are secondary, and they can, things can be 2 or 1 floor away, not 2 floors away. So again, this is part of helping to get the client to understand how all of their space is going to lay out and why what we're doing is so important here with all of their departments. This is another project that we were trying to explain to a client about how we could do his space and create these kind of neighborhoods instead of large expanses of workstations, which are somewhat soul-sucking as a employee. We ended up pulling all of the offices off the glass, creating dividers basically, and then creating these neighborhoods. And this is a small neighborhood. This is a small accounting department. But again, our client really couldn't understand what we were trying to do here, felt better here, and then really understood why we were suggesting that this might be something that they should be very interested in.
Hey, Jim,
Yeah,
can you go back?
yeah,
You said something about glass.
yeah.
I think to the far right, that's glass. And what are those shaded areas? Is the glass on the north side there?
Yeah, there's, so this is the outside curtain wall right here
Okay.
that runs down. And so this is just the shadow. And what we were trying to show is solid walls with clear story glass so that you were getting some sunlight. But the real vision was out the front where it's all glass. as you can see here. So these people had great views out without having to be on the curtain wall. So in terms of equality and trying to tell people that people in workstations are just as important as people in the offices, this really did the job. And then we also, again, this company is a large cement company in Houston that's actually based out of Mexico. And so we had to convince the guys in Mexico about, they were used to having offices on the window, workstations in the inside. And so we ended up doing some 3Ds to help them with that. This is a great project. Covington, Louisiana, oil and gas company. This oil and gas company was expanding, and the president came to me and was worried because his current offices, these were new offices that we were building for him, his current office, everybody was on the same floor. So he was kind of in the middle, everybody was all around him, and going to this new building, there was going to have to be 2 floors, and so there would be a good floor, and then there'd be the other floor. And so we came back to them, and I do wish this was clearer, but we ended up putting a stair in the center of this, and then putting everything that you needed to do, conference rooms, copy rooms, library, collaboration areas, lunch rooms, all of that around the center stair, and was able to create virtually one big floor, just that you had to go up and down the stairs. And we did a couple of other things. We moved all of the senior vice presidents away from the president and sprinkled them about. And the stair became the kind of tying element between all of this stuff. And if you talk to the president today, he will tell you that was the best $150,000 he ever spent, because it really did keep it from being the good floor and then the other floor. And so this drawing was critical to making that happen. Again, this is our typical kind of test fit plan, but I wanted to show you, this is what we're doing these days, because everybody is concerned about costs. And so we're already talking about finishes here, so that I can send these drawings out to a contractor and hopefully get better pricing, because you know what this thing is looking like. So I used to say before COVID, I used to say that by doing these kind of drawings, we could get within 5%. After COVID, pricing is, I've given up. I've just given up on the whole thing. So. And then I just wanted to show you, because the drawing on the left is the rendering that we did, and the drawing on the right was the final photograph of that same spot, of that same deal. So this was an amenity area that we did for a landlord who was trying to upgrade their office. So the other thing that this is great for, and again about making decisions, is providing options for people. So this is a reception area, and I just wanted to show you basically what ends up happening is, let's go back. Can't touch it that fast. So there's that same view, and there it is with a different color. So we can show people, again, the first image was based on a idea that this company wanted to be more industrial, And so we really kind of had plywood up, and then the executive vice president was like, yeah, we want nicer wood and what have you. So with our system, I can change the finishes on both of those. So you can literally kind of go back and forth and be able to show people, okay, here's what it looks like with this, here's what it looks like with this. Again, this is at the test fit stage. We hadn't even started drawings at this point. Or in this case, we had a client just recently who had a bunch of awards that they had forgotten, that they hadn't even told us about. And then came up at the last second and said, oh my God, we've got these awards that we've got to have up. When these clients come to the office, they need to see that, we appreciate these awards. So this is just, here's 3 glass shelves, here's 4 glass shelves. And we did this because we didn't put blocking on the walls because we didn't know about it. So all of this stuff was just made so this thing actually just hangs on the wall, believe it or not. So. So we also do a lot of feasibility studies for developers, and again, as much as doing a plan makes a huge difference, popping it up into 3D does 90% more. This is a hotel, parking, 2 MOBs, and then some retail. And actually a city services building that we were doing up in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So, and then again, once you got it in 3D, I can look at it from any direction for anything. So this presentation was to the hotel developer who wanted to know how tall he could make it, and whether we could put a bar up on the roof, which we did. So this is actually across the river in Tulsa. For the city of Tulsa, they wanted to take an abandoned piece of industrial property and turn it into a bunch of playgrounds and ball fields for both football and baseball. And again, the city of Tulsa was blown away because what they were expecting was just a floor plan, show how many fields they could get, and we were able to kind of walk them through all of this space for them. So. Okay, a lot of stuff happens for us in design development. So here's a building that we've been asked to add an amenity center to. The big thing was getting the contractor to get us a really good price. So not only were we able to send these type of drawings, but here's our, again, I'm always working in 2D, but I'm really working in 3D. So this is what came out of that. We also needed to place it on the site just so people could see what was going on, and the fact that it really was just a very large set of parking lot and this building in the middle of it. And then how that tied in to the whole amenity center. We ended up cutting a hole in the precast, putting a garage door for the gym so that you could actually go out and go jogging and work outside. And then these are the marketing renderings that we did from those drawings. Then we turned them into these drawings so that the marketing part became easy for the folks trying to get people to come to the building. So all of this stuff builds on itself. So as long as you start out with this and you work your way through it, all of this becomes very, very easy. So back to design development options. So this is a high-tech conference room we did, and you can see I can take the fabric and I can change the fabric in this thing, and so you can see different versions of the fabric. But the real problem is nobody likes making decisions. They need something to help them, and we need to get decisions made because this guy or somebody else is on my butt saying, where's my drawings? You know, what are we doing? So I like this. This is a coffee bar that we did. And again, for options, here's option 1, here's option 2, here's option 3. So option 1, option 2, and option 3. So I love showing this project. Again, I was convincing the client to take their boardroom off the 50th floor windows and do an internal boardroom so that we could do this model of the port of Freeport. And we put the model outside next to the window and moved the conference room inside. At this point, I always tell people, I'll tell all you guys, I have a time machine. In case you guys didn't know it, I own a time machine. So what I mean by that is I did this drawing 9 months before that's what it was. So I could actually show people 9 months before what they were getting. And that to me is very, very powerful, and it should be very powerful for your clients because it's certainty of outcome. And there's a ad on TV about 4-imprint, and are you 4-imprint certain? And we are 4-imprint certain on these things. We're onward certain about these things because I can show you exactly what this is. And then this was the other part at the conference room, showing the conference room, and then the added stair that we put in and the connection to the second the floor below. Again, these are all just 3D renderings based off of our CAD drawings. So the time machine I was just talking about, here's the same thing. This is a project. This was 1 year difference between the drawing on the left-hand side, which is the rendering, and the drawing on the right-hand side, which is the actual built-out staircase connecting the 2 floors.
Can you slide
You can, and the reason I know it is one of my partners did slide down, and then the company who's in the oil and gas space, who are very safety conscious, immediately had a cow. So this is my greatest time machine. This is a drawing on top. I did 6 years before the drawing on the bottom. And the drawing on the bottom is a photograph. I shouldn't say drawing, it's a photograph. So this is Texas Children's Hospital down in Houston, and the drawing on top is what they were spending $600 million, which these days isn't a big deal. But back then, $600 million was a lot of money. And they wanted to know what they were going to get for $600 million. So we did the drawing up on top, and then what ended up being is what's on the bottom. So again, it's that idea for Texas Children's. They wanted to know what $600 million was going to buy. And so for us, that's really important for us to be able to do that.
Jim?
Yeah.
Question.
Yeah.
Everybody's so cost conscious, right?
Yep.
So do you have a more costly option versus a less costly
Yes.
option that you can show people as well?
Yes.
Okay.
So so as Steve was mentioning, our typical stuff right out of the box, that costs nothing. In 90% of our clients, that's good enough. it's only when here they were spending 600 million, or like I said, I've got the headquarters is in New York, and I need to send something to New York so they can see what we're doing. That's usually the only time that they pay us extra to do that. The rendering at the top, so typical rendering, which we call photorealistic or almost photorealistic, is only $2,000. So again, for when you're spending $600 million, $2,000 is not a big deal. Again, when you want that certainty of outcome, that becomes really important. The other part of this, so here's another test fit. This is the executive floor for a company called McDermott, which is an engineering company. And so doctors, lawyers, and engineers are always the hardest people to work with. And they need the most, they honestly need the most 3D that you can do, because doctors, lawyers, actually all of these people, engineers, know everything. So they tend to be more difficult to do things with. So this is just, again, our typical test fit. We popped that test fit and we took it a little further and put all of these finishes on the drawing again so they could see what it looks like. And then I just wanted to show you, these are the photographs from that same space. So the president came back and said he didn't like the light woods, and we ended up with dark wood, and but these are the actual photographs. So if you remember the movie in this, they're really fairly simple. Last thing is that this process also takes us to working drawings. So I want to take you through a few working drawings. These are the kind of working drawings that we do, okay? So we find, not always, but we find that a lot of contractors really appreciate this and really end up using this. And I always know they're being used when I go into the job shack or onto the floor where we're doing the project, and all these are hanging up on the wall, and it's like, okay, it's been worth every bit of it.
It's probably hard to have a leave over from a previous set of plans also when you do it this way.
Correct.
Yeah.
Instead, we went to the 3D version. Again, it's not that the guys on the job site can't build this. They can absolutely build this. They just can't necessarily read the notes over here on the side. The other thing that you can notice, you can barely notice, but we also put all of our outlets in 3D. And the reason we do this, and the reason that there's a coffee bar up here is coffee bar is indicative of the biggest thing that we run into a lot of times. We started putting outlets on there because we've always gone to great lengths to make sure that you can see all the outlets. So they're at the right height. We know where they are, and again, just a very important thing for your clients. This is that stair that I was talking about that connected those two floors. The drawings on the left-hand side are what we typically would send out. Instead, we send out that drawing at the job site. That's the drawing that was hanging up. These drawings were not hanging up. And again, that's the actual stair. So that got built.
We want to thank you for your time today, and we want to close today's session by showing a virtual walkthrough of one of our models.